All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I've been working my way through the online PDF textbook that you see on your screen right now, AppInventor2, Create Your Own Android Apps by Wolber, Abelson, Spertus, and Looney. And so far we've gone through the first 10 chapters. I'm not going to read them off. I've done that several times, but I'm going to go over Chapter 11 right now. Let me say that with Chapters 11 and 12, I'm going to go over both of them, but I'm not going to exactly be able to test them as far as doing a broadcast hub, and I don't have a robot, so I won't be able to do the robot thing. But I might see if I can get one. We'll see. Then I believe in Chapter 13 for the Amazon bookstore, we'll go kind of come back where we'll be able to work on this. And then Chapters 14 through 24, for lack of better words, what's in those chapters is a lot of, I'm not going to say rehash, but let's just say getting more into depth as far as the material that's in the earlier chapters. Okay, so let's jump into Chapter 11, Broadcast Hub. All right. So, it says here Frontline SMS, excuse me, is a software tool used in developing countries. So, what it wants to do is it wants to connect people who have phones and have mobile connectivity but don't necessarily have web access at the current time. And believe it or not, that's I was going to say a fairly large portion of the world. I know there's some underdeveloping or some developing countries like in Africa, for example, that I've heard they're laying cable and the like and they're setting it up so that they can have internet, but right now they don't. So with this software, as it says, it serves as a hub for SMS text communication within a group. People send a special code to join a group. The idea is this. We're going to create a broadcast hub that's similar to this, but it runs on an Android phone. So what's going to happen is it's going to be for joining a mythical company that's called Flash Mob Dance Team. And people register, as it says, by texting join FMDT to the hub, and the app, as it says, will process receive text messages in the following manner. So it'll be one of three. If you try sending something and you're not yet in the broadcast group, the app will respond with a text inviting you to join. If the text with a special code join is received, the app has got to add the sender to a broadcast list. And if you're already a member, the message then is broadcast to all members of the list. As it says, it's more complicated than the no text while driving, but again, we'll build it a piece at a time. So the idea in here, as far as what we'll learn, we'll talk about the texting component, which we looked at in a much earlier chapter, for sending texts and processing received texts, list variables and dynamic data to keep track of the phone list or list of phone numbers, the for each block, which we've looked at and used before, to allow the app to repeat operations on a list of data. In this case, as it says, we'll use it to broadcast messages to everyone whose phone number is on the list, and the tiny DB. Note, not the tiny web DB, but the tiny DB component to store data persistently. Again, as it says, so if we close the app and then relaunch it, our list of phone numbers will still be there. You'll need a phone with SMS service to test or run the app. You'll also need to recruit some friends to send you texts to fully test the app. I don't have that capability right now. So they want us to create a new project and call it Broadcast Hub. Did want to mention before we do that, I wanted to show you this. Whoops, not that. And that is, I've kind of refined this project right here. And what I mean by that is I went out online and did some searching and found better sounds for the notes. So I just wanted to play that for you. Then I wanted to bring up another app that I did on my own. I did an offshoot of something that Android has out there, but I kind of just took it my own direction. So I wanted to show you both those before we start. I don't want to waste too much time, and we're already at 5 minutes, but if we just do this and then build the interface, we should be okay. While this is coming up, I'll talk to you about this in just a minute, and that should be SMS. I don't know why I wrote SMS. All right, let's see if we've got this up. Looks like it's almost there. And again, the idea is that the notes are going to sound much crisper. Turn my sound all the way up, so hopefully you're able to hear. Again, I took some liberties. I didn't make this exactly the way that it is in the book. I was thinking about this as far as how I could make it even look more like a xylophone, and I've got some ideas, but that'll be for another time. So if you listen... So that's a lot nicer sound, okay? So I wanted to show you that, and I also wanted to go to Projects, My Projects, and pull out this Magic 8-Ball. Now, I do want to mention to you that App Inventor itself, under the AppInventor.mit.edu Explorer AI2, has a Magic 8-Ball. I have no idea how good or bad it is because I didn't really go through it. But I did not use their graphic. Mine might look the same, but I did not use their graphic. I did not use their labels, etc. So mine does not look at all like theirs. All right? But it is out there, so if you're interested in looking at the one that they have, because there are a lot of projects out here, probably should have mentioned this to you earlier, but there's two things I quickly wanted to say to you. And the first is that one. And that's where it is, so if you wanted to take a look at it, it's at http://appinventor.mit.edu/explorer/ai2/magic-8-ball.html. All right, so that's the first thing I wanted to mention to you. But I wanted to show you mine, not because it's necessarily that fantastic of an app, but I decided that what I want to do later is I want to build this for you, and I'm going to really build it slowly. And I'm going to stick that out there also, and maybe even put it earlier in the list of videos that's out there. But I wanted to run it for you and show you what's here. So you ask a question, all right? And I can do it on here, but I don't really want to use that, so I'm just going to do it right here. All right. Will the St. Louis Cardinals win the 2017 World Series? All right. So I click submit, and please listen. All right, well, not the greatest answer, no. But when I did that, my submit button was grayed out. And you may or may not have noticed, but originally the reset button was grayed out. So I can keep going with the same question. Yeah, it keeps telling me no, which isn't a good thing. Absolutely. Cannot tell now. Yes, that's a good one. Let's stop it right there. But I wanted to show you in the blocks editor, this is what I would take the time to go over with you. All right. I've got one global variable that's called answers, another one called random number, and another one called image number. I don't even think I need the random number. I think I used it and then removed it. When I initialized, I loaded in these different responses. All right. And then I took the reset button and I made it false. From there, we've got a submit button. When you submit the question, all right, we do this. So we call question submitted. And this is generating the random number, and this is the reset. So I would take some time and go over that with you. All right? Okay, so all that said, projects, start new project. I didn't think I'd want that, but I think this is called My Broadcast Hub. Nope, just Broadcast Hub. All right, so there's our new project. Broadcast Hub will facilitate communication between mobile phones. The phones do not have to have the app installed. They don't have to even be smartphones. They'll communicate via text with the app. So the user interface for the app is just for the group administrator. The user interface is very simple. It displays the broadcast list, that is, the list of phone numbers that have registered. So to build the interface, this is what we need. All right, and again, I'm taking this from the book. And that's it right there. So as they say, we'll need what? 1, 2, 3, 4 labels, which will be on the screen, a texting component, which is a non-visual, I believe, and a tiny DB, which is also a non-visual. So let's just grab those and put them in there. So label, and I'll worry about printing it up in a bit. Label, label, label. I think the texting is under the social component. It is. There's my non-visual. And finally, the tiny DB. I should have remembered that. Whoops. I'll go over that in a bit. So tiny DB, which is also, that's under storage, and that will also be a non-visual. Okay. So this will be right here. They want us to not even rename this. I'm just going to go with what they have. And they want the text to be registered phone numbers. And as I often do, let's just do a couple things here. Let's blow the font up. All right, so that it's 20 point. Let's bold it. Let's align it in the center. And let's set the width to fill parent. All right, that looks a little nicer. Then underneath that, we're supposed to have this is supposed to be broadcast list label. And that is going to have the display of phone numbers. All right, and they never said anything in there about that even having any text in it. I don't think it does. So I'm just going to leave that blank, which is going to make it a lot smaller, but that's okay. So you won't even be able to tell that it's there in just a second. All right, but it is there. It's right here. All right, then our third label. This is the header activity log. So again, we'll do the same thing here. We'll center it. We'll blow the size up to 20 points, and we'll bold it. We'll make the width fill parent. Oh, already did that. And we'll put the text to activity log. All right. Then our last label will display a log of text received. That will be the log label. So again, this is going to look just like this. Rename that to log label. And we're going to remove the text from it. So right now, this is our interface. Doesn't really, whoops. Right now, that doesn't really look like much. Okay? Now, set the width of each label to fill parent. I think I have. Let's double check. With fill parent. With, do that one. To fill parent. All right. Width to fill parent, and width to fill parent. So we've done all that. Set the font size for the header labels to 18 and check the bold. I made them 20, that's fine. Set the height of the broadcast list label to 200 pixels. So this is going to take the stuff that was down below it. All right, so that's going to take these two labels and move them way down. Okay, and you can see where that will be. In fact, let's take this just so we can tell there's something there. Is there a later color? We'll use, we've used yellow before, so we'll do that. All right. Set the text property of the broadcast label link of the broadcast list label to broadcast list. Okay. Set the text property of the log label to blank, and I think it already is. All right. Set the text property of label 1 to registered phone numbers, and it is. Set the text property of label 2 to activity log, and it is. So, as they show in the book, this is what our interface should look like. This is, it looks like 188 here. It doesn't map up with the book I have, but you can see this. All right, so it's time to add the behaviors. We're going to do that starting in the next video. But if you look here, it says the activity for BroadcastHub is not triggered by the user typing information or clicking buttons. Rather, it's triggered by text coming in from other phones. To process the text and store the phone numbers that sent them in a list, we need the following behaviors. The three we talked about before. When the text message is sent from someone not already in the list, the app should respond with a text that invites them to join. When the text message join FMDT is received, the person should be registered on the list. And when the text message is sent from a number already in the broadcast list, it should be mass broadcast to everyone, all the phone numbers in the list. All right? So when I come back, we're going to take it from right here, responding to incoming text. And I'll be back with the second part of this lecture shortly.